study of race and ethnicity. There, I focused on matters concerning health equity and criminal justice. I would travel the country talking to health professionals about growing health inequities, what they could do to address them, and, more specifically, how they could create persuasive arguments to overcome resistance to change from their leadership, local politicians, and community leaders. For example, one of my focuses in the world of health equity was infant mortality, defined as the death of an infant before their first birthday. Did you know that out of every 1,000 black children born, 11 die? This is nearly double the rate of white infants, which is only 5.8 per 1,000 births. There was no shortage of statistics like this, so helping health professionals address these persistent challenges is important and impactful work. However, it felt like what I was doing was just a drop in the bucket, and all of those years I spent talking about inequity and injustice were psychologically and emotionally taxing. I was burnt out emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually, and I was in desperate need of change. So, I quit. I ran as far away from anything that had to do with racial inequity as I could. For over a year, I stopped watching the news, and if I saw a social media post with a political, inequality, or race-related message, I would unfollow the poster. I even went as far as to block my wife Whitney from time to time because she never has been one to hold back when there's something on her mind, especially when it comes to matters of social justice. Mental health-wise, shutting down and disconnecting from the world's problems was incredible. I never felt better. I was less stressed and much happier. But even though I felt better, it didn't mean that everything was better. Now, fast forward to May 2020. By this time, after transitioning into the business world, I'd built a career representing clients in legal negotiations. I started to work as a mediator, and I honed my conflict resolution skills. I had also found that my true passion was teaching negotiation skills. That passion is what led me to start A&I in 2016, and 4 years later, our team was growing quickly. I was enjoying the work and the positive impact it was having on the world. But, unfortunately, after the murders of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, difficult conversations about race were becoming harder and harder to avoid. On May 31st, 2020, Whitney decided to have a difficult conversation with me. She said, "I know that you want to avoid this situation, Kwame. I know that you hate talking about this. But here's the thing. You always talk about how important it is for other people to engage in difficult conversations. How does it look if you are intentionally avoiding having these conversations?" Damn. I realized that avoiding the situation was not the same as choosing neutrality. My lack of engagement was actually causing harm. People were looking to me for guidance on how to have these difficult conversations about race, and I was silent, despite being uniquely qualified to address the issue. I'm a black man in the field of negotiation and conflict resolution, which is rare, and my background in civil rights made me even more unique. And that's when I decided, reluctantly, to get involved. I thought I'd just check the box and say I did my good deed, then go back into the shadows until these most recent incidents blew over. I'd have a little online event, maybe about 20 or 30 people would show up, and then I'd be done. I posted about doing a virtual town hall on LinkedIn, and I titled it, "How to Have Difficult Conversations About Race." To my surprise, the post went viral. We maxed out our online event capacity with more than 1,000 attendees from all around the world. I told them, I'm not going to tell you how to think about race. I'm going to show you how to talk about race. I provided simple and practical tools for having these difficult conversations that people could immediately put into action. Attendees discovered that they could have these conversations in a way that was constructive, not destructive. Following a brief presentation, I promised the attendees that I would stay as long as they needed and answer questions. I answered the last question 3 hours later. Even though I was the person presenting, the audience taught me something very important. People are hungry for this information. They want to learn how to communicate and connect on this sensitive issue. It's my hope that this book will teach you how to do just that. The goal and scope of this book. Maybe you've thought or heard someone else explain their hesitance to talk about race like this. I know we have some serious problems regarding race to address in our workplace and in our society. But when I try to tell people about it and share the data,